Hi, everybody. My name is Alyssa Adamec, and I'm coming to you from Coralville, Iowa. Now, while I have the superpower of being a violist and a Credo alum, I have another superpower, and that is I received my clinical doctorate in audiology from the University of Iowa this past May. So today, I want to take a few moments to talk to everybody about their hearing health. We work in a field that requires us to have pristine hearing, but if we don't take care of it, then we may lose it. So let's get started. So for today, my learning objectives is I want you to be able to understand how we measure sound. I want you to identify symptoms of music-induced hearing disorder, and be aware of hearing protection for students and directors alike, and learn just learn a little bit more about how to take care of your own healthy hearing. So first things first, how do we measure sound? We actually measure sound in decibels, which is a logarithmic scale. A quiet room is typically about 50 decibels, and if you and I have a conversation, it's usually about 65 decibels or so. But the number I need you all to remember is 85. 85 decibels. Why? Because any sound over 85 decibels can start to cause permanent damage to your hearing. So 85 is a stated safe level, but that doesn't mean it's safe for 100% of the population. So it still may mean that up to 25% of people exposed to 85 decibels for a long period of time, about 8 hours, could start experiencing damage to their hearing. So it does mean that the majority of people won't get a hearing loss, but as a musician, do you really want to be the other 20% that ends up getting a hearing loss? Now, in relation to orchestral music, there's been research and studies shown that sound level measurements have been observed up to 100 decibels in an orchestral setting, including areas in the strings and the conductor's podium. So if you look at this graph, if you are exposed to a sound level of 100 decibels, about 15 minutes is when you're going to start experiencing damage to your hearing. Now, since the decibel scale is a logarithmic scale, for every 3 dB you go over 85, the amount of time you can listen to that level before it starts damaging your ears, your hearing, cuts in half. So 85 you can listen to about 8 hours, but you go up to 88, it goes down to 4. 91, 2 hours. So you can see that a few decibels is going to go a long way. Now you may be saying, I'm fine, it's not a big deal. But I'm going to tell you guys something. This is relevant. There was a huge debate last year at the Royal Opera House. A violist was playing Wagner. We all know Wagner's loud, but he wasn't given the right hearing protection and had exposure to about 130 decibels. He can't play anymore. There's a cellist in Minneapolis that has hyperacusis, I'll talk about that later, and is unable to play something that she enjoys. There's more examples here, and I am more than willing to send it to you if you're interested. So let's talk a little bit about music-induced hearing disorders. This is what happens if you exceed that 85 decibel level for a significant amount of time. One is hearing loss, which is the most common. The other is tinnitus, so that's buzzing, chirping, ringing, sounds that you hear that are not physically present. Hyperacusis, so this is for a damaged ear or an ear that's exposed to loud sounds. It's intolerably loud. That is considered comfortable for you and me. So if we're tuning and playing a soft A, it's fine for, say, you and me, but for someone with hyperacusis, you gotta leave the room. It's too uncomfortable. Now, diplacusis actually deals with pitch perception. So if you and I are playing our tuning A, or let's just say you're playing your tuning A, someone with diplacusis may hear an A and then a D above that, or an E above that. Basically, it's pitch distortion. So it's kind of like you're hearing a tritone all the time. Not very enjoyable. So with that comes, with the music-induced hearing disorders, is related to sound-induced hearing loss. This is the impact of having those music-induced hearing disorders. And there is a lot of negative impact, and not just associated with your ears, but difficulty with communication. Again, that music perception, but also can have psychosocial problems. And this is described and proven in literature, including depression, anxiety, and not wanting to participate. If you hear tritones all the time when you want to play in a string quartet, you really think you're going to always want to play? More likely no than yes. Now, I've talked about hearing loss and I've talked about these things, and you may be thinking, well, there's hearing aids for that. They can help fix it. But I'm going to tell you very frankly, hearing aids do not bring back your normal hearing that you've been given. They don't process music well. Hearing aids are meant for people to be able to communicate, not listen to music. So our prevention in audiology is better than our intervention. So if we can help you prevent hearing loss and having to pay $5,000 down the road for hearing aids, but rather pay a smaller amount for earplugs, that's what we want to do. So just the definition of sound-induced hearing loss, it is caused by a one-time exposure to that excessively loud sound. And it's also caused by repeated sound exposure at various levels. So that could be going to orchestra every single week, practicing every single day. And the damage for this is actually in your inner ear, and it's damaged, the hair cells are damaged in the cochlea. So over time, listening to the loud sounds can potentially damage those hair cells and break the hair cells. And so if they're damaged enough, it results in hearing loss. And hair cells are not like the hair on our heads, that it can grow back over time. Once these hair cells are damaged, they're damaged and they are gone. So to give you an example of what it looks like, so on the left, that picture is an intact cochlea. So notice the organization and the geographic pattern. They're all those hair cells, the white that you see, those are all in rows, and everything looks really put together and normal. And then you look on the right side, that's the damaged cochlea. Everything is gone. That organization is lost. It is very hard to process sound information. Think of it like you're playing a scale. On the left, you have all your notes, all your whole steps, all your half steps, everything's there. You've got your intervals, it's all good. But if we go to the right side and compared to a damaged cochlea, it's as if you don't have your third or your fifth. It's not complete, and it's hard to put all the pieces together. And the more that's missing, the harder it is to understand. So now that you know all this information, I'm not doing this to scare you. I'm doing this to inform you. What can you do? What are things that you can do to help protect your hearing? Big one is know your sound levels. What sound exposure are you getting on a daily basis? And there's something called sound level meters that help measure the intensity of sound. Now, I know we all don't want to walk around with a little sound level meter in our pocket, but I know a lot of you have a phone and you can download an app. There are several different personal sound level meter apps that I use and that I would recommend. I will say that iPhones have a lot more reliable readings than an Android, and there are several great apps that you can download. The left one is called Decibel X. That's one I use regularly. The middle one is called Soundcheck. It's from a company called Starkey, which is based in the Twin Cities. There's an option to take the hearing test on that one. Don't do that. Your phone's not calibrated to do a hearing test. And then the third one is called a NIOSH app, and that's a national organization to help with appropriate sound levels in the work environment. So the next thing is check your hearing. Get to know an audiologist, go to an ENT, go to an otolaryngologist, helps with the ears, and see where your hearing is. And go back annually for follow-ups. At the University of Iowa, we offer free musician screenings for our students and our faculty. See if your school will do the same. The other things that we can do, a few more practical things, is you can turn down the volume. If you have headphones, the iPhones and Androids have the capability to provide an output that can easily start causing damage. I'm talking about 100, 110 decibels. So turn down your headphones or the car stereo or the TV. The other thing you can do is walk away. If it's too loud, then just walk away from the sound. If you walk away from the sound source, it's amazing how much the decibel level will decrease. And it is pretty significant. But as musicians, we don't really get that option. We can't be sitting in orchestra and we hear a loud passage and be like, no, let's play that fortissimo climax pianissimo. Or, this is too loud, I'm gonna get up and move. So where does that leave us? Well, there are earplugs specifically designed for musicians that I want to talk to you about today. There are two main different types. There's a non-custom and there's a custom. And there's two companies that provide the non-custom. One is called Adamec and the other is called True, and it's part of a company, Westone. Both of these you can buy online on Amazon. You just search musician earplugs and you'll see these options come up. I will say the gray and blue ones, they have a little stem popping out, so it's a little bit easier to see versus the black ones, which also come in pink and blue. They are a little bit more discreet if that's something you're concerned. If you want to try something a little bit more, you can do a custom. I actually have custom earplugs, and they take an ear mold. So the audiologist, so I could take an ear mold impression of your ear, and then I would send it off to a manufacturer and they would create your own musician earplug. And they have different filters that you can use. One has more attenuation than others to depend on your environment and what pieces you're playing, for example. You can also do digital custom musician earplugs. Those can automatically adjust the filters as needed. I've never tried them, but I've heard good reviews about those. Now, for all these earplugs, the non-custom and the custom, they'll all take the standard sound, about 10, 25 decibels across all pitches, and bring it down. If you were in an orchestra and they said that they were providing adequate hearing protection, it'll probably just be a foam plug, so something that you can just like pop in your ear. Those are the worst ones for musicians, but they're also the cheapest. I actually saw them backstage at the Chicago Symphony Center when I participated in the alumni event last year. So that's not the one we want to use. These are the ones that we're going to use because it's going to bring all the frequencies down the same. So you're able to hear everything just at a safer level. So with that, I hope it gives you some insight into how to establish healthy hearing. I will say from personal experience, I've tried the non-customs, I've tried the customs, I've had to learn what works best for me. I usually wear them during orchestra and then sometimes while I'm playing scales in my practice time. I usually don't wear them for performance, I usually don't wear them for concerts, but being able to wear the earplugs to help prevent that exposure is going to go a long way. And you don't just have to wear them when you're playing music. If you're going out to a loud environment, if we ever get sporting events back, you can wear them there because it causes a lot of sound, or other loud environments too, like mowing the lawn or using power tools or going on a motorcycle. All those things, it can definitely help protect your hearing. So what works for me may not work for you, but I hope these ideas and suggestions and this knowledge will help you take the right steps to move forward with your hearing health. If you have questions about finding an earplug, contact me. If you have questions about music-induced hearing disorders or sound-induced hearing loss, don't hesitate to contact me and reach out. So I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you're having a great time at Credo. We love you. We're praying for you. Take care. Bye-bye.